I need to make a tube 17.5 millimeters long. I need to use my schoolboy geometry to work out how wide the piece needs to be. Outer diameter will be 10.3, 1 millimeter thick. Halfway through the diameter will be 9.8. 9.8 times pi, 30.8. All very technical stuff. I just sort out the silver I need. Now this silver will have been work hardened and I need it to be a bit soft. So I'm going to just anneal it. It involves warming up the silver and heat it up until it's just about starting to glow red. You've got to be very careful with the temperature not to let it get to a bright red at all. Just there, I'm just going to hold it. I'm just going to speed things up by running it under the tap. So this will now have been softened, which doesn't make it easy to bend, but it makes it easier. A tapered mandrel, about 8.5, and try and keep it square to the mandrel if I can. Bending it round, turn it the other way. Just crimp it together slightly. Flattening the edges together where the seam will be. It just brings the edges square onto each other and makes for a stronger joint. Clean up the ends of the silver. There we are. Just going to close up the edges and I'll hold them together with some iron wire. Lots of flux along the seam. Get some silver solder. Just position it under the seam. It's ready to run straight up into the join. This time I'm going to heat it right up to a bright red until the solder melts. There it goes, it runs up. I can take that silver, quench it under the tap. Put it in there, clean it up, see how it looks. So I'm just going to take the tube that I soldered out of the pickle that I put it in. This is a jeweler's pickle. It's Vitex safety pickle, which is in my old slow cooker here. It's a mixture of water and this pickle, and it just removes all the oxides, all the flux and dirt and stuff. So this is the cleaned up tube. I'm just going to square up the end, and then I'll be able to solder the cap onto the end, and then I'll fit this onto the ebony core that I made on the lathe. Now I've got the silver cap fitted on the ebony core, I'm going to put the collar on the lathe. I want to try and reproduce something like the collar on this cello adjuster. This is a Lamy adjuster. It's got a large first collar and then a very small second one. And I'm going to cut this without power. I'm just going to turn the chuck in the hand. I'm now going to just change the angle of the cutting tool. Line it back up, make it a little bit more rounded. I'm going to go back and do these cuts again soon just to make them a little bit deeper, but this is just to give me an idea of what I'm looking at. So we've got the two collars marked out there, and now I'm going to start filing the octagonal flat facets on the rest of the adjuster. Having made a start on the first facet, I now turn that to the bottom. So now I turn these facets so that they're vertical. Check my angles. That's better. So now it's a case of adding the diagonals, and then we just go around and make each facet large enough to join up. The final two facets. That's the octagon roughed out. Now it's a case of going around evening things up. Having filed all the facets evenly, I'm now just polishing them all up, getting rid of all the file marks, making sure that they're nice and flat. And I'm going through different grades of this abrasive paper. The last thing is just to use a little bit of metal polishing compound. should get a nice shine coming out now.